This is Baby Boy coming from Versatile Kings and Queens of Podcast. We are new in the podcast world. We're on episode 9. We have a great cast of members coming on today. We have the man himself, my nephew. He said I didn't introduce him right the first time, but the man himself, Mr. Trey G.
Don't tell that lie. I ain't say that. I ain't say that.
And of course, he have his lovely co-host, Miss Kaela Baela. Kaela, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
And we have a special guest, coming straight OG from the streets. You know, we played kickball together, and we didn't like each other, but you know, we're great friends. I believe his name is Keith. Welcome to the show, Keith.
Hey, glad to be here.
This episode is episode 9. We're gonna have a variety of subjects. I call it the battle of the sexes. My first topic is that me and Miss L and the whole crew discussed about who falls in love quicker, men or women. I think it's different, you know, because it depends on how the woman treats you. You know, if she treats me right, I'm gonna test her subjects and poke that bear. Just get mad. A lot of people say crazy. I like crazy, I guess. So I'm seeing what everybody else thinks. Miss L, what do you think about that?
Who falls in love faster?
Yes, men or women.
I think the man does.
Why do you say that?
Because I think men are more visual creatures. They fall in love with the outside, the shell first. Everything that looks right on the outside, and then I think it's more of an infatuation that can turn into love for men first.
Okay, good topic. Mr. Keith, what you think?
I think the woman does.
You think the woman does? Why you say that?
Well, like Miss L, I think men are visual, but that's from a physical, a lust standpoint. What we're attracted to, and being attracted is not the same as love. Love is, it's crazy because if you think about it, love in the word said covers a multitude of sin. So it's a lot of things that you won't even overlook when you think you love somebody.
Okay.
So again, I think we mistaken feelings for love. But I believe that women fall in love faster because they from childhood they're taught to build. You get a doll, you combing her, and then when you look at now you got a doll house, so you're building that up, and men are taught to play.
Okay.
By the way, I ain't think OG and kickball went together.
Hey,
but anyway,
you are OG. I ain't like you
yeah.
from kickball, but you my dude.
Just sidebar.
Hey, it's all good, Miss.
All the real OGs play kickball now.
Hey.
All the real OGs play kickball.
It's true. Miss Kaela, what you think?
Ooh, okay. So I just want to let y'all know the women are outnumbered, by the way. It's only 2 of us and it's 3 men. So just letting y'all know.
I tried.
Honestly, I think men fall in love faster and fall in love first. Because I feel like in my specific case, I do tend to fall in love really fast or love someone fast. But as far as like falling in love, I think men fall in love faster than women because kind of like what Mr. Keith said, women do so much for men. Like we're nurturing, or we're supposed to be nurturing, and we're supposed to be the homemakers. We're supposed to be the ones who are proactive in situations and the backbone. Men fall in love with that. And I feel like it takes a little bit longer for men to kind of show that side sometimes. Like y'all do for us, like, okay, yes, like the paying the bills and things like that, whatever the traditional thing is. And I feel like women, like Ms. Ella said, we're looking for something like the not surface level, like
commitment,
foundation.
not even just commitment and foundation. That's surface level to me.
Okay.
I feel like you should be able to commit in the foundation. That's bottom of that's the bar. Like that's really low for me. Do you have emotional intelligence? And that takes a while to see, because I have to see you upset. I have to see you take a loss. I have to see you. I have to see how you treat other people, and that takes time, and that makes me fall in love with someone.
Okay.
Because we're definitely paying attention.
Absolutely.
Mr. Trey G, what are your thoughts, sir?
So I feel as though women fall in love a lot faster. And this is me being as impartial as I can be. I know the women, like she said, are outnumbered, but I will try to be as impartial and honest as possible. I think women fall in love faster. I think that when, let's say, like when you get to the physical side of a relationship, you know what I'm saying? I think that like thrusts a woman's love into like overdrive. Like she is like hyper in love at that point if it's good. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you right now, if he giving her that one leg up, that one leg up, that back down,
Standing in there.
that wig cocked to the side. Oh, she can't help but fall in love. You see what I'm saying?
All right.
She ain't gonna be able to help to fall in love.
All right, that I understand that. So what's your thoughts about sex versus intimacy? How does that play into all the mix of it?
You want me to start it off?
Yeah, you ended it. Start out. We're gonna go back around the table.
So sex versus intimacy. Now, when I got the rundown for this question, the first question I asked myself was, who teaches a boy intimacy? Like who teaches that?
Okay.
Because I don't think I was ever taught
Right.
intimacy from a parent, from a friend, from maybe a lover. But there's definitely a big contrast or a big difference between sex versus intimacy. Sex, of course, is exactly what it sounds like. It's physical interaction. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
My bad. Exactly. It's physical interaction. It's straight physical. Intimacy is touching somebody's soul. You know what I'm saying? It's touching deeper than just the physical aspect of somebody. It's touching their mental, their emotional, they spiritual. You know what I'm saying? So intimacy doesn't have to even involve being physical. I personally feel like. I feel like you can be intimate with somebody through your words, you know, through your actions. So I think intimacy is definitely a deeper connection that people build, you know?
Gotcha.
Yo.
Miss
And
Kaela?
you think it has to be taught?
I do think it has to be taught because if you don't know if you've never seen somebody be intimate, if you've never seen somebody or been taught by somebody how to be intimate, then you don't know what that looks like. You think that it's sex. And yeah, I think this younger generation thinks that sex and intimacy is like the same thing, which it can be in certain cases, but like you can have both.
It's not just flesh.
Yeah, it's not just flesh. You can have both, but you can have one without the other too.
Okay. Miss Kaela, what you think about that?
So as far as who teaches intimacy, I believe it starts with your parents, because intimacy to me is not a physical thing. Like I can be intimate with my parents, I can be intimate with my friends. It's a connection that I have with them. It's way deeper than that. And intimacy can happen with silence, when I can just sit with my partner and just experience their presence. So intimacy is I feel like when you have just physical, the relationship is going to fall apart. It's going to fall apart because, I mean, sex gets old. It really does. And with intimacy, it comes friendship, it comes conversations. It's so much deeper than that. And I feel like my parents taught me intimacy to an extent. My mom, she would just be like, come lay in the bed with me and let's watch TV together. That was an intimate moment with my mom. My dad would take me, we would go to Blockbuster every Friday and rent a horror movie. That's why I like scary movies so much.
Shout out to Blockbuster.
You took it back.
Right. We would go to Blockbuster, rent a movie every Friday, and we would sit on the floor, pop in the VHS, and I would have an intimate moment with my dad. We would go fishing together. That was intimacy, and my dad would talk to me. That's how you teach your child intimacy. It's in those moments of quality time. It's in those moments of, I just want to have a connection with you. I want to get to know you. That's what intimacy is, getting to know someone. I can get to know your body, but that's quick. That's real quick. And that's real surface level.
Mm-hmm.
You and this
We
sound
on that
effect.
production side.
Like, but that's
My bad. I'm stupid.
intimacy. I choose intimacy over the sexual side 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, because when I'm 90 years old, now I don't know too many 90-year-old people that's just getting it in every single day.
They be doing that
Hey,
thing.
they be doing their thing.
Yeah, it lasts about 3 minutes.
But
But
you the best 3
3
minutes of
minutes
my
probably
life.
all right in 90
What's
though.
wrong with you? 3
well,
minutes.
regardless though, I've noticed that with older couples, people who've been married 60 years, my godparents, they've been married for 60 years. They are intimate.
It's how the time is spent with one another.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and pick it up. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Keith, go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
you
Go ahead.
know, you took all my ideas. What I'll include is that it does start at home, but I also recognize that you can mistake love and intimacy as for one another, and they're completely different things. Intimacy, first it starts with you. And I think what a lot of us miss out on is that we're not driven by purpose. When you think about your life having a purpose, then you get up and you care about that person, but it's how you move that it makes them attracted to you. Because, every day, I can't wait to see her, or I can't wait to see him, because you know of their effect as they move throughout their day. And going back to the example that you gave about it, your father and you, intimacy is not explicit. It doesn't come explicit in thought as sex does. When you talk about sex has boundaries. I don't care, even in an open relationship, it still has its boundaries, whereas in intimacy it doesn't. However, and this is powerful, there are a lot of relationships that don't work because the significant other, one or the other, does not see that what creates the jealousy is their gift in moving in intimacy.
That's good.
Okay.
What you consider flirting.
Yeah.
No, that's just me being me purpose driven.
I got
That was
you.
good.
Miss L, what you think about that topic?
I would definitely choose a partner that knows how to be intimate, because that's important. I just was around it. I grew up in it. I didn't learn it from my mom, but I learned it from my grandparents, the time that we spent together, whether it was just sitting there watching Wheel of Fortune with my grandmother or going fishing with my granddad. I'm saying that was moments that I cherish to this day. And so now that I have children, I notice that I'm more intimate with my kids, and I've gotten slack for it, especially with my boys, because I sit on the floor with my kids and I'll just hug them and I'll talk to them and tell them how smart they are, and I kiss on them, and they're like, "Don't do that. That's a boy. You can't be coddling him all the time." Or if my kids want to sleep in the bed with me, I get slack for that. Like, they're too big to be sleeping in the bed with you, but they're not going to be doing it when they're 20.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to have to kick my kid out of my bed at 16.
Right.
But those are moments that I'm getting that I'll never get back. So I really don't care what people say about me being intimate with my kids, because I know I'm instilling in them intimacy and love and what that looks like. But as far as a partner, like you said, that intimacy can be misconstrued as love. And they think they may be in love because of how I move and how I operate. But you're just kind of like addicted to my emotions and how I am, but you're not really in love. It's just
used to you.
yeah.
Like the movie Fences. Again, there's some relationships that they last until they endure their time, but is it a fruitful, progressive relationship? And little sidebar in your sharing about being a parent, I say this I've learned to place myself in people's shoes. And when you talk about teaching intimacy, and you going back to what T said about what boys are taught, they have to be shown how to love. That's true. but they also have to be able to, again, because we're going back to a understanding of what the difference is. And I remember, because my father and mother have always been together, and they, my dad, going back to, we talking about 90, my dad 94, he still touched my mama on her ass.
I know that's right.
Wow.
So,
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking
she'll say
about.
don't do that, but I be like, I hope I live that long.
She
to
like
do
it.
that.
She like it.
Yeah. But going back, I remember my mom, I would want to go and get in the bed, but my dad never would let me. Mm-hmm. And I know there were times, in hindsight, where my mom wanted to let me do certain things, but she understood the importance of his dad
Yes.
knows what it takes
Yes.
to become the man he needs to be. Mm-hmm. And it's a balance.
Yes, it is.
Because this whole conversation deals with how we feel. Mm-hmm. Everybody learns sex through internet. Ain't no sex education.
Yeah, that's true.
We talking about the new generation.
She got first-hand experience. She said,
Well, it might
I
not
was
be
in
the
the
internet,
trenches.
but maybe unfortunately adult films.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is a
Access
terrible
to
way to
that.
learn.
It's
Yes.
horrible.
Hey,
horrible.
it's a
The
terrible way to
expectation
learn,
is
but-
degrading.
It is.
Again, when you talk, I just think about, again, commitment. And we talk about sex and we talk about love. Now, sex, you can have that with anybody. You can have that with just yourself. It expounds that to that level that you don't need nobody to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to realize that if the relationship, like you said, is just built on mere flesh, there is a honeymoon phase in every relationship. And most of us don't move with intentions. We just get caught up in what you said, Miss L, about what we see, what men see. But women see something too.
Okay.
Now, and this question started out with who falls in love faster. I think, again, women, but I also think women fall out of love faster too.
Hello?
I don't know. Let
that's
me
a
ask you
good
this. Let me ask you this. So when you're saying women fall out of love, so do you think? I don't know exactly how to put this. Do you think women should submit to their spouse or lover or vice versa? I'm gonna start off with Miss Kaela. What do you think about women submitting to their lover, guy, friend, spouse, or whatever? Do you think women should submit to them?
Okay, so I am a God-fearing woman. So I'll start with that. That's where
I can't cuss now.
Hey, wait to hear
You
what
can
you got to
curse
say.
because I curse. I'm a Christian that cuss. Okay, y'all.
Hold up.
All right, I'm from the south side of heaven. All right,
dog.
so
South side of it.
Amen.
What
in
is
here,
it?
yeah. Together.
y'all gonna see. All right, so I've gone through a premarital course before with a previous partner, and that course also showed me that we were not supposed to be together. And during that course, we talked about submission, and the pastor that was we read a book, and the pastor that was discussing that chapter was saying, well, the pastor and his wife, they were saying about like submission has gotten like this weird definition nowadays. Like some men think, and some unfortunately pick me women think, do everything your man says. Anything your man wants, you're supposed to do it. But the thing is, there's a part of submission that some men are missing and some women are missing. It's the part where if I'm submitting to you, that means I trust you in every aspect. So for me, if I'm submitting to you, that means I know you're not going to lead me in the wrong direction. That means that, and you are willing to like take a bullet for me.
You want somebody to die? Huh?
No, I don't want him to die. But what I'm saying
She just
is,
said a bullet.
you're going to
somebody to
Critical.
you're gonna give me that same energy is what I'm saying. You might not, you're gonna keep my best interest at heart because you know that I'm following your lead. Submission is me following you. I'm your partner in this, and I do at the end of the day whatever my husband
Wait a minute. Oh, you
says.
You put a horse on that.
Cause
Husband.
why am I submitting to a boyfriend? What? Like, let's be for real.
It's real.
Whatever my husband says at the end of the day is what I'm gonna go with, but he did take my input into consideration.
Okay, great point of view.
All right.
Mr. Trey G, what do you think about submission, sir?
So I will give y'all my interpretation of this conversation because this is a conversation that's brought up frequently. I feel like a lot of people go right into like the biblical version of what submission means, and which is fine. But I think in today's day and age and modern day times, when people my age hear submission, they go into the Webster's definition version of what that word means, and not saying that that's wrong, but that is the one that they go into. That is the one that they lean into more than the biblical version. So I will speak coming from what the Webster's definition version of submission means. Yeah. I don't think that a woman should be submissive. I don't think a man should be submissive in a relationship just because I feel like a relationship is 50-50 in a partnership. Now, submission in the Webster's dictionary version of it is basically submitting to whatever your partner does and wants. You are a subsidiary of your partner. Now, I don't believe that there should be a subsidiary in a relationship because it's 50-50. We are a team, and I think that in a relationship, if both parties are not equally yoked and carrying the weight of the relationship, or making sure that my partner is good, then I feel as though submission becomes a hindrance to a relationship, because then you are just looking for one person to take control and lead for everything. That's how I feel about it. So I feel like there should be a 50-50 when it comes to a relationship and what we both are bringing to the relationship.
Do you feel like 50-50 is realistic, though? Because I feel like 50-50 is not always going to be a thing. There's going to be days where I can only give 20% and you're going to have to do that 80. Or there's going to be days where I can do 70 and you're doing 30.
Sure.
Like you said, it is like there are days where it may be 50-50, but there's going to be times where you're going to lead on that decision.
Sure. And I think that somebody should, of course, like take the majority or take the lead in certain points. But I don't think that going into a relationship, you should always look at it like, okay, I'm going to submit to what my partner says. I just don't think that should be the attitude or mindset.
Horrible.
I just don't think that should be the mindset.
I'm saying I'm agreeing with you. It sounds horrible.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, they should have never taught these boys and girls how to read. They sound so intelligent. Jeez, Miss
He
L.
said subsidiary.
I said, I gotta Google that.
But like I said, it's not the biblical version. It's more so just like the technical version where people kind of hear it and process it as. Not, let me go into the word. Because I think that is something that we should take into account, the words definition or version of submissive. But I think more people take into account the Webster's dictionary version of what submissive means.
And I think that comes along with being unequally yoked with someone.
Yeah.
Because if I'm dating someone that doesn't have a relationship with God, then he's not going to understand submission. And I also believe that, like Kaela said, I have to have trust in my partner. So I'm going to submit to him because I trust him. And I know that he won't lead our family in the wrong direction. Now, I've had situations where the guy was mad because I didn't submit, but I couldn't. I mean, it's automatically programmed in us women. We want to submit, but we're not about to submit to know anything.
Come
You
on.
know what I'm saying? Like, we're not about to do that. So
Right.
it's kind of hard to get across to a man when and I'm pretty sure that hurts the man's pride and all that stuff when that woman can't submit to him or won't submit to him. But for me, I don't mind. I would love to, because man, I don't want to be the driver.
So I got a question. I got a question. So about talking about submitting. If a man makes buku money, like he's established. And
He set a foundation.
I ain't saying
A
all that.
financial
I
foundation.
ain't saying all that. But do you think since he's the money, he brings in the money that the woman supposed to submit to him?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. I was with somebody who did make substantially more money than me, but he was terrible with money.
Okay.
So I made a lot of those financial decisions because I knew how to budget. I knew I'm the one going grocery shopping. I'm the one making sure all the bills are in order. So
I bet
in a
that was
sense,
stressful.
It was because I was kind of like, hey, he's like, oh yeah, I just bought this thing, and I'm like, how much was that? And he's like, oh, it was just like $400, and I'm like, we got to pay the blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I mean, it's fine.
It's my money.
What? Like, so.
I got you.
But back to the submissive thing, though, I will say in today's society, like my generation and down, being an independent woman is like a really big thing. Like, I don't need no man to do anything for me, and I don't have to listen to no man, and da-da-da-da. So I think that also affects the whole submission conversation.
Mr. Keith, what you think about that?
Well, first off, all the points are very powerful and relevant.
Powerful. You know he read.
You know, when I think about submission, I just go back to what I remember when I used to live a whole different type of lifestyle.
Gangster.
Well, if you just use that term, if you said you were going to be a part of something, then you understood the commitment to it. And it could be a 3 o'clock call and you be asleep, but you submit to the call. And again, I remember telling my parents and telling other adults that, man, that they love me. It's about the relationship that's built. Going to the money. I've been that person. Watch this. I made all the money. I made twice as much. I remember a young lady saying this to me. You got all that money and I don't even know what you're going to do with it.
I ain't got no money.
Now again, and then we gonna go biblical on you said, Ryan, about being a man don't need to be submissive. Adam was submissive at a moment that he forever regrets.
The worst moment.
And again, we talk about what a woman's supposed to have as well as a man when we talk about King Solomon and who he met. And they both were established. So I was taught, and I know it's difficult because, again, you cannot take away race and society when it comes to black men. Black men aren't given the opportunity to build at the level and at the consistency and time that other races, not just whites, other races included. And the submissive, even the word submission affects us from the slavery history. So again, when you hear it, it's just it seemed negative. But again, this is what I was taught before man. And again, this goes back to Adam. First, Adam had authority over something. You got to be in position to call shots. I could move in and have $50 million. If I haven't built my own castle, it means nothing to her over time. Because again, women so many years ahead regarding visions that in terms of building relationships, that men, watch this, I'm glad I got it. We talked to play. But you want it. And when you already got an idea what you gonna do with it when you get it. And marriage ain't going to the movie Life. When he got his job, she said, what you gonna do? He had a plan to buy season tickets. She said, we gonna get married, and he spit wine everywhere, and it changed his life from that point on. Right. So again, two different mindsets, so it's important. And I'm gonna tell you where I think this dialogue applies to all of us, because I think we hold ourselves accountable from what I feel in this room. You'll meet a man, and you say he got it, or you see he getting it, or you believe that he gonna get it from what you see, and then and what you shared, Miss L, was you don't want to be the driver, but unconsciously you done it already. So to place him in that driver's seat, all of a sudden he done got used to how. So again, in the middle of the flight, who gonna fly the plane? And so it's very important to know that he can do it before you ever let him do it.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback off this just real quick.
Go ahead.
I want to clarify too. I think a man should lead his household, right? I think a man should be the leader, and I think a man should be the head of his household. But I don't think that the buck stops with him. I don't think that my word goes and that's it. That's all.
Right.
And what I say should stand, and this is what we gonna do. No,
Right.
I think that if my partner, if she sees a better way, but she sees me making a decision that's probably not going to benefit for the family, but she say, babe, I'm a little more specialized in this. Let me get with you real quick. So this is how we should do it, and this is what we should do. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when you when you say submit, if a man says, no, I don't want to do that, we going to do it this way, then that's what we doing. And I feel like submission kind of like goes into that. Like then the woman would be like, okay, well, I got to submit the way he
You
say.
understand the logic in it.
Right.
Yeah, even
though I
that
know
it's a
better.
feeling, you don't be like, okay.
So let me ask you this, just
was
to
good.
piggyback out for that. Sorry. So submitting and everything like that. So what you saying a man should handle his business and lead the household, correct? Am I hearing that right? What if a woman or man is out on the town chilling with their boys at a sports bar or strip club or playing dominoes, whatever, they get too much and they say, hey, I'm coming home to my wife or my spouse or my girlfriend or whatever, and they talk down on them. And that's verbal abuse versus physical abuse. They can come home and beat their ass or whatever. And a lot of people don't understand it's real what physical versus verbal. Verbal abuse happens a lot, and a lot of men don't like to say it, or women, but I don't think it's a good thing because you can be verbally abused as a man. You the head of the household, but a woman come down and get too many drinks. Then, like, oh, you did this, you ain't shit. That brings a man down, his ego, versus a man that can get full, or a woman get full at the club and come home and beat your ass. Yeah, I think it's just people of the society right now have to try to really. It's like a juggle. I mean, you have to. You kind of balance each other out. Support.
That's facts.
And what do you think about this, Miss Kaela?
So I feel like in today's society, like, well, not even just today's society, but just from what I've noticed on like social media and things like that, whenever someone hits you, they're automatically villainized. Automatically. But when someone is
Woman or man?
both.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
It's starting to be a little more equal nowadays. I mean, if a man hits you off rip, like, obviously.
So you a fighter?
Like,
yeah, I forgot.
am I a fighter?
You know what? No, never mind. Because I know you violent.
I am not
Hold
violent.
on. I had you on the show before.
Y'all, I have never, I am
said,
not
what?
violent. My parents taught me at a young age, if you swing, prepare to get hit back. So,
Yeah.
I
yeah,
had you on here before. It's okay.
I have never touched him. So, Miss L, have I ever done anything
Oh,
violent?
no.
Thank
She
you.
violent. What the fuck?
I'm not.
She violent as hell.
Anyway.
We talked about this before.
Oh, my gosh. So,
You are not new to this podcast.
oh, my
The
God.
hell? Go on.
So,
I'm sorry.
Whenever someone is mentally or verbally or like emotionally, whatever it is, abusive, it's harder to prove. It's harder to prove because some people, for example, the actor Jonah Hill, his girlfriend, it's a white actor. His ex-girlfriend accused him of being emotionally abusive. And she posted all these screenshots. When I say it's divided down the middle, people are like, he set his boundaries. And some people are like, no, that's emotional abuse. He's gaslighting you. And I know some people in this room hate that word, but he's gaslighting you. He's making you feel crazy. So emotional abuse is so hard to prove that I feel like that's why people endure it longer, because at the end of the day, they think, is it me? Am I the one that's crazy? Am I sensitive? I've been with somebody who's narcissistic and who has narcissistic traits, I should say. And a lot of times I was like, am I too sensitive? Am I crazy? Am I the one causing the problems? Am I the one picking? He never put his hands on me. But, like, when I got out of that relationship, like, my self-esteem was so low.
Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Keith, what you think about that?
I agree. I know. I remember more things that were said to me over in the span of my life
Than what was done.
I've been again. I can sit here and I can sit and focus on the physical and be like, I remember I got hit in the head with this, or this happened, got stabbed, whatever. But those things don't come to mind. What comes to mind is things that affected me emotionally. And again, I believe that this is important for us to get to a point of not relying on our feelings. Because I think our feelings are what overrule the abuse. You know, again, I'm not judgmental. If I see a woman with a black eye, my first thought now is,
Well, she
man,
deserved to get that.
nah.
She could have been
That
talking
is
crazy.
not funny.
No, I'm not
she
mad.
she fell into the counter.
Maybe she fell to the counter. I'm just
Hey.
asking questions. I get you. Like
You better clean that up.
better
I'm
make sure your
just-
statutes of limitations
Miss
are
Elma.
I'm
passed.
just, man, I'm thinking.
And
Okay, I'll go
and,
to that
and
one.
well,
How you
that,
get
well,
that black
that
eye?
goes back to what was said earlier about it's
Can't talk.
you know, women putting their hands on men too.
Oh,
But this, I do think this should be. I think this should be understood between man and woman. You and I, we can have words,
I don't like you.
but you'll get to a point of understanding. Two men understand. Two women will do it too.
Yeah.
Understanding the next word is gonna lead to something else, so we'll cut it off.
You're right.
But in a relationship, it's typically not cut off.
It sure isn't.
And this I know I've lived. Now I can go places throughout this entire world and be acknowledged, be recognized, and be respected for the effort I put in to become who I am.
True.
And then see people that I've fallen out with, we can hug and shake hands. But it's some women that I've been in relationships, and the verbal side, it'll get so bad, and in overlooking, it's almost like you've condoned it.
Right.
Okay.
Real
Okay.
spill.
Yeah, real deal.
Mr. Trey G, what you think about that?
Yeah, of course. I think, and growing up in a household, I saw my mom be physically abused by a lover. You know what I'm saying? So I know what physical abuse brings and what it can do. But I also know, too, on the opposite or the flip side of that coin, what verbal, mental, what that abuse, how that can affect somebody. Because just like he said, sometimes a lot of the times what don't stick with us through our childhood and through our past is not the physical stuff that happened to us, but the mental or verbal stuff that happened to us. Like, I can tell you one time, I remember, and I tell this story all the time. I can tell you one time my mama, I was getting bad grades in school. You know, mama don't like that. Mama ain't gonna go for no bad grades, especially if she in there and she's supposed to be. So my mama told me, she said, I bet if they put a pork chop on that plate, on that paper.
Never have he forgot.
I bet if they put a pork chop on that table, on that homework, I bet you'll do it. Then you'll pay attention. Now, that stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Because as a young man who's trying to figure out everything and all of this stuff, you hear somebody insult your weight. That can leave a toll on you.
Right.
And that stick with you, and you build yourself.
Especially for somebody you love and put at that level.
Absolutely. And my mama didn't mean it no kind of way. But you know, back in them days, they didn't really, it wasn't no gentle parenting. It wasn't no soft parenting or nothing like that how it is nowadays. So she just knew what she knew. Like, I need to get this boy ready for the world. Yeah. So that's what she was doing. So my mama was a great mama, but in that moment, I built my brick for what I thought I was supposed to be based off of what she told me. And that inserted itself into me and carried with me through the years that I grew up. You know what I'm saying? So I think verbal abuse can be just as harmful, if not more harmful, than physical, because then you pass that hurt along to somebody else. Or whatever seed that has planted, that is going to grow into something now. And it's going to go into something so toxic.
This boy been reading.
I mean, I like what you said. How do you okay, so question for y'all. How do you heal a physical cut or a physical scar or like something physical on you where you get hurt? How do you heal it?
It heals itself.
I mean, you can go get some Neosporin, you get a Band-Aid, you can go get some
Over
stitches.
time.
Stitches.
As long as it don't get affected, it'll deal with itself.
Exactly. But how do you heal an emotional
Nah,
scar?
it has no time limit.
Yeah.
Has none.
Because as a kid, I don't know how to deal with this. Or not even as a kid, but just even as a teenager, or like my first time falling in love, or even in college when I experienced like college men are terrible, by the way. But
oh my goodness,
I'm just being honest. Like,
man, the whole
They were only students.
Grown students. But
shit.
how do you heal that? And when I tell you, I'm gonna say it. Every single person needs to go to therapy.
Counseling.
Yes.
You need to go to counseling. You need to talk to somebody. And I saw a video online where you might not be able to afford therapy, but you need to have people in your circle where you can just be like, hey, I just need to get this out. I don't need you to give me no advice. I just need to get this out.
Right.
And they might, and God might put something on them. And if you're not a spiritual person, a higher power might put something on them to give to you.
Preach.
That's real.
I'm just saying.
I see you.
Yeah. But one thing I was going to say is that as a woman, because, you know, we're more emotional than men, one thing that glad that I've accomplished is how to control my emotions.
Right.
And I would probably have a lot of more bitterness toward people, especially my exes. But I came to realize that my expectation of that man or that person, it just wasn't in them. So once I realized, okay, this is not the person that's going to be able to do X, Y, Z for you.
Red flags.
You know what I'm saying? So then I can't hold on to the hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not in them to do it.
You
So
gotta get
I-
mad
your
at them for
feelings.
Yeah, got to get out your
Michelle,
feelings.
Man, that's real.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off, but this is what because you said that. The same one that said about how you taking a hold of your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I share about, again, because we biblical, you know, you read the word. Think about Moses' mom and having to release at the time when a law was written to kill all firstborn and to see him land in the hand of the family that wrote the law.
Come on.
Most of us would have jumped in that river and messed up. I'm telling you, for real. But the getting out of your feelings and letting God, because there are things that we ignore. Scripture is simple. How can two walk together unless they agree? And you see that simply within a matter of days. But you want to get them, or we want them to get us on the same page. And life, go ahead. And life can be so chaotic. Watch this. Chaos can be good for you because you've been living it all your life. Where for me, I ain't never seen it.
Facts.
So I can't deal with it.
People are comfortable in that chaotic situation. And when something's not chaotic, they like, what's going on? This feels weird. And I'm like, baby, it's just normal. You're
Order.
happy.
Yeah.
Like, embrace it.
Don't want it.
I just had a conversation with my therapist, and I said, something feels weird. She said, what feels weird? I said, I'm happy. She said, what?
You're happy? Are you happy?
I
Amen.
am. She said, you're happy. She said, you ain't got no complaints.
Nope.
She said, you come into these sessions, I ask you, is there anything new? And you just give me all good news.
Oh, you're okay.
It feels weird because we're so used to operating in chaos, operating
Right.
in these,
Born into it.
and people wonder why so many people have anxiety nowadays because we're just used to being on edge 24/7.
You know what? That's the opposite for me, though. Because growing up, if things I stayed time in my room all the time because it was chaotic in my household. So I wouldn't go outside my room because I felt comfortable in my room. So now as an adult, my life is calm, is peaceful. But when it starts getting overbearing and just stressful, then that's when I come out of that's when it starts to I get anxiety because my peace is messed up. My calmness is messed up. And I'm going through that right now. He can tell that. Yeah, he even said it today. He was like, you
Did
look
he?
different. Yeah, he said, you look
Oh,
different.
that wasn't on her.
No, I wasn't on air. No.
He
But
could
it's
shoot
like,
shots.
yeah.
Keith, don't you just disrespect me? My podcast.
But
No.
I mean, this is like a full circle conversation because honestly, with all of these topics that we done brought up so far, and that whole thing with like submitting to a man or submitting to your partner, I got to see you operate in all of these topics.
Okay.
I got to see how you handle all of this. And the guy that I'm dating right now, I can honestly say, we're going through the seasons, and every single thing that's been thrown his way,
Yeah.
he's handled it in a way where I'm just like, that's
But what
amazing.
are you going to, maybe you're going to come to a point where he may not pass one of them.
And
Then what are you going to do?
when he doesn't pass one of them, I think the biggest thing is remembering I haven't passed everything. And remembering
Giving him some grace.
that's it.
Ooh-wee.
You stole it out my mouth. Giving someone
But
grace.
no one's perfect.
Exactly.
And
Go ahead.
again, you have to be mindful of this. Some things ain't for us to work on that. That's God's job.
That's it.
So you get out the way. 90% of it, if his intent, just on hearing what you've shared today, if his intention is to be the man, the husband, because that's what you say your vision is.
You want a husband?
I do.
Then watch this. That's in your will and in God's will. And again, if you want examples of relationships that God ordained and they were wrecked, it's in the Word.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just got to worry about that one thing, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. This is wrapping up episode 9 of Versatile Kings and Queens. This is family right here. Miss L, Miss Kaela, Mr. Trey G, Mr. Keith, me. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Facebook. We're on Spotify. We're on Pandora, iHeartRadio. You can't miss us. So follow us, subscribe, and like I say, we always got a link on the end of each episode to donate to the show if you're able. If not, we're gonna keep on going. And this is it. We're gonna wrap up this session and go to episode 10, I believe.
It was a great conversation.
This was good.
Miss L, would you like to give a shout out to anyone?
No, I can't think of anybody to give a shout out. Well, I appreciate you guys being here, though.
This family.
Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah.
I gave y'all
Yeah.
little keychains, and I'm gonna buy y'all
Yeah.
lunch. Got dog it.
I thought this was a wire or something.
Not a why.
I watch too much.
That's why I can't. God dog it. Miss Kaela, would you like to tell anybody? Would you like to shout out? How can they follow you? How can they get you on
Okay.
Instagram?
You can follow me at _ Kaela, Kaela Baela, Baela _ on Instagram, and please go to my YouTube because the second episode of the Trey and Bae podcast
All right.
has been posted. So
Oh,
super
okay.
excited for that.
God.
That's what's up.
Mr. Trey G.
You can follow me on all social media platforms. I'm AYE_Trey G, A Trey G, A_Trey G. So yeah, just follow me on there, man. Keep up with the latest and greatest. And like she said, the second episode has been released, so go check it out.
Mr. Keith.
I'm just glad to be here.
Oh, can you go back to me?
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
I need to sell some houses.
Oh,
That's
right.
Yes,
Yes.
Let me go ahead and plug myself
Yeah,
right
go
quick.
ahead,
Now,
plug
listen,
yourself.
if you're
Go
looking
ahead.
for a house to buy,
Mhm.
or you're looking to rent, please get at your girl. I am LaTarsha Cotton on Facebook and Instagram. And I also invest in homes. So if you're going through an issue with your home, maybe facing foreclosure, anything like that, hit me up too. I can help you with that.
Come
Yes,
on.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Support
of course.
black businesses.
Yes.
I got the hook
Of,
up.
of course. Boy, you stupid. Of course, I'm Baby Boy, your host, and we're out. Peace.
Bye.